Okay, I'm going to make some kefir water. So I have quite a few items here. These are my grains that I use. I have 2 jars right now. I give them away, they do grow. And so if you're just starting and you just got your first grains and they're like freeze dried or whatever, just follow the instructions. So I start with 2 of these large canning jars. These are 2 quart. And I use spring water. You don't want to use purified water because it doesn't have enough minerals, and you don't want to use tap water if it's chlorinated. If you have to use tap water, then I would pour it in a jar, you know, like fill these with some tap water and let them sit out overnight without a lid to evaporate the chlorine. But I don't have that problem. So I am actually going to start with the water, and I'm going to fill these up about 3/4 full or so, just to start with. And I may need to go get some more water. I don't know if I have enough here, so hold that thought. A little bit more water here. I'm just going to pour a little bit more water in there. And then next step, I am going to, yeah, that's why I don't want too much water, because the grains have some water in them and I don't want to overflow it. So next step is I have my sugar mixture. So this is cane sugar, and I also use coconut sugar. You can use any kind of sugar. You can use brown sugar, white sugar. This is organic cane sugar, and a mixture of about, like I'll use a 1/3 cup of organic cane sugar and 1/4 cup of coconut sugar, a little bit less than the coconut. And I also put in a little bit of sea salt, like Himalayan or something. Gives it a little extra mineral, and I'm talking a small amount. The recipe I send you, if you're watching my video, has the recipe that I use, so it's in there. So first thing, and I use these to keep everything from spilling. They're really nice for canning jars. So you're gonna put a 1/2 cup in each of these jars. And you just wanna mix that up. And you want to use a wooden spoon only. You don't want to use any metal because of the kefir grains are probably sensitive to the metal, is what I've heard. So I'm just mixing up this, making some sugar water, and that's what's going to feed the grains, is the sugar water. So move that out of the way. All right, next you're going to get some grains in here. And to do that, I may have too much fluid here, so I need to pour my grains into another jar so I can show you the grains, or the juice from the grains into another jar. So I'll move that. So basically, just gonna put this right here, and I'm gonna put, this is a strainer. You have to use a nylon strainer, not metal. You don't wanna use metal with your grains. You can get these on Amazon. I think I sent the link. So I'm just gonna pour my grains out over the top of this, and there's quite a bit in here, so I'm not gonna get them all in there. So I'm just emptying the fluid out right now. And so I have about that much grains, so I'd say that's like a cup. And I'm gonna dump that in one of these using this blue thing so you can get them in there. And then I'm gonna get the rest of these grains out. And I'm gonna say I have another cup in here of grains. Find that wooden spoon and kind of get the rest of them out here. Now these grains you use over and over. This is called the first fermentation. I'm going to do a second video for the second fermentation. So these grains, from the last time I made it, when I got done making it, I put them in the jars, and I add water to the jars, and I feed them with some sugar. And so then you put them in the fridge. So you only need to put like a tablespoon. But you always want to keep your grains fed. Right now my grains are going to get fed by this process of creating the kefir water. So now I have my grains in there. I did not start with a whole cup of grains. I think I started with like a 1/3 cup maybe, but I add a lot more grains. I like having the grains and I don't think it hurts. And then Just kind of stir it up a little bit. My grains are in there. You can kind of see it. There's my grains, and I do, you don't have to do as much as I do, but my family goes through a lot of kefir water, so you could just make one of these jars. Like I have a friend that's single, you know, only her does it, and so she just does one of these, and she probably lasts her like a week or two, but everyone in my family drinks them, and I bottle them into, I buy these bottles, so when I'm done making this, I will have 3 of those, and it will make me 9 bottles, and I do, you know, if everybody does a bottle a day, you can figure out, you know, 3 of us doing a bottle a day, it disappears pretty fast. So I make it pretty often. But anyway, that's the bottles. You can get those on Amazon, and you don't even have to use them. The reason for them is this cork, and they do get pressure because it gets fizzy when you're done with it. And so this is my bottle. So this one's a grapefruit juice one, and I just drink out of it and then recap it. And so this is my bottle. Everybody has a different flavor that they like in this family. So I like the grapefruit. My son-in-law likes the mango orange blend, and then my daughter likes the pomegranate blueberry. So they're all different colors. That's just the juice. So, and then the last part before I'm done with this is that I add to each jar. You don't have to do this. This helps the grains to stay healthy. I put 1/4 of a lemon. So I cut a lemon in half again, and I got the seeds out, and I just drop it in there. And I also put 1 prune, or you can use raisins or date. Anyway, it's again to help keep your grains healthy. It doesn't necessarily become a part of the flavor. It's just to keep a yeast from growing on the grains. And so I put 1 prune in each jar. You just drop it in there and let it sit. And then you can kind of top it off with some of the liquid from the kefir that I poured off. So I just top it off because I like it full for me. And then it's going to ferment. And the fermentation process does not, you don't need to put a canning lid on it yet. The canning lid will be in your second fermentation. So in your first fermentation, let's spill something on that. It's sugar. On your first fermentation, you can use cheesecloth or whatever, but I just get coffee filters. I like these coffee filters, are real easy. And I put an upside down coffee filter on each one because they have to breathe. And you're gonna ferment I ferment about 2 days. I have gone as much as 3 days. And how you tell when your ferment is done is like right now, if you were to taste the water in here, just take a little bit and you taste it, it's gonna be sweet because I put a 1/2 cup of sugar in there. After this is fermented for 2 days, it shouldn't be sweet. Now it depends on how much sugar you want left in it. If you want it not to be sweet at all, you can go another day. So I've gone 3 days and it's fine. And you just come and taste it each day, see how sweet it is. I've been going 2 days because my family likes it a little sweeter. So and basically that would be, you know, like today, what is today? Thursday. And so on Saturday in 2 days, then I go to my second fermentation. Now I just put a rubber band around each one of these, and I set these jars. They're gonna just sit like this, just how they look. I'll set them on top of my fridge because they're out of the way because we got babies and all kinds of activity. I set them up there. It's a nice place for them, and they're gonna sit there for 2 days. So on Thursday, Friday, Saturday afternoon, I'm gonna take them down and I'll start my second fermentation process, and I will make video number 2 for that, of how we take our grains out. We're gonna put them back in the container, and we're gonna add our juice. And then that second fermentation, we'll have to use the canning lids, and we'll have to burp it, and then you'll pour it into your bottles, or you can just put the whole thing in the fridge and just pour it out. So you don't necessarily have to buy the bottles if you don't want to. And I'm setting it up on top of the fridge. And so we're done with fermentation 1. We'll be back in 2 days, create the second video, and I'll get this video to you to start with. And any questions, call me.